Again, I'm still here on the project, building capacity around my mouth, but I got something to back it up. What do you think? Let's discuss it. This is Samson Toll, Liberian Public Radio. But I want to bring your attention to a show that I'm going to be having tonight. It's going to be very interesting. I'm encouraging all of you, those of you that are listening to this video, to tune in tonight. Because perhaps this might be some of the reason why we have all of the mess that is going on in our own country. Because you have to listen to these things. These things, the trouble we've been having in Liberia didn't start overnight. These are things that's been happening from time to time. There are those who came before us, past generation, failed to recognize these things, and will continue to repeat them. And because we ourselves have not yet able to recognize and see if these things can be rectified, so that this country, beautiful country of ours, can be built just by our hands as Liberian. It doesn't matter who you are at this point. Concord country, it doesn't even exist anymore. We're all one another. We're all one country, one people. But if we do not understand why these things are happening to us, we're most likely not going to be able to find solution. So I ask you tonight to join me.
Yet, how does one begin to help people who swim on their own flooded streets to voting booths to vote incompetent criminals back into office?
Yes, that is a big question we all have to answer. How do you help people who will go to the voting booth swimming in their own flooded streets just to vote people in offices who are incompetent? And those incompetent people that are being voted in offices will also appoint people who are also incompetent. So this is like a big deal. How do we help our brothers and sisters to make sure that their voting rights are utilized effectively? They have the voting cards. They must be told how important their voting cards are to all of us. And so I'm saying those of us that have this platform, this is not time for hate. You don't come into this because you hate. You must do all you can to educate the voters themselves, how important their voting cards are. Because of their vote, our leaders being able to do what is right for our people. Join me this evening as I try to explore this particular question and many more that will be coming. Join me this evening at 8 Eastern Time, 5 Pacific, where we will take on this question and be able to see how much we can go. With your help, we, the Liberian people, will be able to educate our brothers and sisters that have the right to vote whoever they want, but they must do so with responsibility. This is Samson Toll, Liberian Public Radio. Thank you very much.
C'est autiste-moi, encore une autre fidèle qui l'Amérique n'a pas loupé. Quand il y a Sylvie, il y a un point qui j'ai loupé presse. L'Amérique n'a pas loupé. T'as bien de moi avec moi, en ce moment, on va battre au moins, néo. Mon temps d'hier, t'as mon mouillé, on s'est abattu pour moi, il pleure. Avec la locale,
doing anything that people get amended. And with me from 2005 to date, we're all doing anything. I've done something. Trust me. I'll be re-elected. You understand? So you don't need to fight. You don't need to destroy your country. You don't need to even condemn your country. You have to be inspired, peacefully, and then convince the people, persuade people. Politics is about persuasion. And it's about what you have done for your people. I have done so much that I don't need pay for. You know why I don't need pay for? Because Liberians love me and they promoted me when I was on a soccer page. You understand? And they were proud to be Liberian when I was on the soccer page. And I've done my best for my country. I'm a former peace ambassador. It doesn't matter what people say. I'm on record.
Yao, abela lokeyo, bivito jobai, bivito inoba, matissimo peyo. Manager Gigi, ouais peut jamais forcer ou si tu connais tu connais. L'animateur Choco Noska Yassen de Toyebli, l'homme a tout fait pour Mivito, Aniche les vieux.
Henry, I can tell you the problem of this country with respect to prices, with respect to health, with respect to education, and largely tied to roads. There are no roads. You don't see opportunities where they should be when you don't have roads. From up to 173 years, we only have one road. How do you know what is happening in Bapolu when you don't have roads? You don't go there. The prices of goods, commodities on the market are high because to get them to where they are needed. So there's no way you can, when I talk about road, I'm not talking about putting road on the sidewalk in Monrovia, $50,000 road and make it $3 million. We're talking about roads that will open up the country. We're talking about roads that will open up opportunities, roads that will get businesses going, and dependency reduced because people believe their goods and commodities can get to the market. That's what we're talking about.
But we will prosecute and will confiscate assets that people steal and acquire by illicit means. I often say that in Liberia, when people get caught, they send their wife, they send their children, they send their relatives, whatever, to come and beg. I'm seeing the Liberian people don't come and beg. You know, don't come and tell me, oh, stand to help you get elected. He talked nice about you on the radio station. Now he's stealing, so forgive him. Stanley should have known when he was stealing that we're going to punish him. So there's going to be consequences. That's the first thing. Then we have to make sure we're paying people a living wage. So we did the arithmetic, we did the math in 2017 that when you look at policeman's salary or healthcare worker's salary or teacher's salary, by the middle of the month, the money finished. By the time they pay rent, they buy food, they pay the children to eat, and of course, they're not going to starve, right? So the policeman will pull you over, the teacher will accept bribe, they change grades.
Good evening, folks. Samson to LeBron Public Radio. I hope I'm audible in here tonight because I'm having some difficulty trying to get into my own stuff. But thank you for joining us this evening. We say thank you. Safety, Lord Jesus. We want to thank you again this evening for this wonderful, wonderful week. Thank you for all that you have done and continue to do. Lord, we ask you to continue to bless us. Give us wisdom. Give us ideas to move forward. My Lord, we ask you again that the country of Liberia is getting ready for an election, and we put the country and its people in your hands. Only through your protection, everything is possible. And we ask you to make this possible for all Liberians, to make sure the election is held, no violence. Give the leadership wisdom. Bless the leadership. Give the opposition leadership wisdom. Bless the opposition leadership. My Lord, we ask you to continue to guide all of us, Liberians everywhere. With that, we say thank you. We ask that the host country, the United States of America, be blessed as well. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, so let's go ahead. Let me see. I asked one of my guys. Oh, he's here. Of course. What do I expect? To be late? No, never. Thank you, Cecil, for joining me this evening. Thank you very much. I think your your mic.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. I think your presence here going to diminish my tabata here this evening. I think because whenever you show up, seriousness shows up. So I will try to be mindful of that. But thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Tonight, I don't have much. I told you already what the situation was. We come on these platforms, we claim to be the man. I'm the man. You heard what I told you. So behind the scene, I'm not. Anyway, I'm not. Let's just say to many of you that watching, I am the man. Okay. So I love it when I told you something.
I will keep your secret to yourself.
Yeah, please don't let Fonzo know. Oh my goodness, this is what we do. But anyway, thank you very much for joining us. Sissy, go ahead and take it over here a minute. Let me let this lady in through the garage.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to LeBron Public Radio. Again, my name is Cesar Goya. I am taking over the show for a very brief moment. The Liberal will be back in charge. Thank you to everybody who's watching us. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're watching us from. It is always a pleasure to have you join us and participate because the future of Liberia depends on every one of us having our input, and we are bringing our own little 2 cents and throwing it in there to make a whole dollar. And so we hope you will come with your 2 cents today. We joke around a lot and say tabata, but by no means
is anybody's vision or mission or intention for Liberia is a tabata. We all might just disagree on the way we move forward. And so I want you all to join us tonight. Come with all the fire, come with all of the zest, the patriotism about our country, and let's have a conversation together. Again, this is LeBron Public Radio. We want to say thank you always for joining us. The Liberal is still going to be co-captain. I'm just going to captain for a short while. You know, they can put in it. Put it. There's only on the armband. They want to see him player kind of thing, but or they say come outside. Yeah, that's what I'll be doing here today. So.
Thank you, Zizzy. Thank you, folks. And of course, I promise not to be praising this young man anymore, because every time I do that, he turned pale, so to speak. So I'm not going to do that anymore. But Sister, thank you for joining us. One of the things that I noticed, I did a whole 2 hours here the other day all by myself, Tabata, and I really took it because I told the Sedition I was going to be taking it to them. I took it to Sedition. They were calling. I said, I'm taking phone call right now. They were calling, especially you know who were calling up and down. I said, I'm not taking phone call. I want to enjoy my Tabata. But most of the stuff that I was saying, and I've been proving correct again. There are people within the Weir administration, and they have killed I mean, not literally. Let me be careful what words I use here. They have taken away his ability to lead, the spirit in him. You know, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I truly believe a young man who left Africa from a poverty, below poverty, and was able to go to Europe. Now, what happened there, that's not what I'm talking about. But I'm just saying, to be able to utilize his brain to go and be at the top of whatever the white people are playing over there, and decided, in order for me to be there are things I have to do. Number one, he has to be disciplined. He could not be in a nightclub, womanizing and be at the top. So that comes. Number two, he has to be respectful and obey the rules of the club, the country, and whatever region he's in. So he recognized all of those things. And I've been saying here that this man is not dumb. He's very, very intelligent, very, very smart. However, Sissy, I felt bad for him. But then people will say, then you should hold him responsible, which I do. I'm going to hold him responsible. But the issue is, if you claim as a man, as a person, as a woman, I come to you, Sissy, I'm your friend. But we're talking about government now. The government is not a private entity. It's for the people. We're there to make sure the people's lives are better. So if I come to you and say, I can help you, I must be very sure that what I say I can do, I should be able to do that. And if I don't do that, I expect you to pull all our friendship aside, because you're not there for friends. You are there to carry out a specific duty. And so if I'm not able to produce as a friend, you're most likely going to say, Mr. Toe, let's meet. You know, and knowing who you are, you're probably not going to buy crab, eat the crab with shame. Mr. Toe, you came in here, you said you can do X, but you're not doing those things. So even if you're not going to fire me, I'm going to have to put you somewhere else. You know, but nothing like that. This guy allowed people, a minister, to come out and say, oh, I didn't even know I got that kind of money in the budget. Who are you? And these are the people that surround him. And look at the last tape. I'm gonna do that on Thursday. There's a tape, the videotape going around where he was chastising, I believe, to be with Spoon TV CEO. But at the very end, you could hear the people, Baku. What? These are the people that have ruined this man's career, a political career. To be honest with you, this is not. He's trying to explain to people what exactly he feel. Then you tell Baku, they're clapping for it. What kind of what is it? So it just proved to me again that if these people, this is the way they go around to make him happy and to maintain their job. One last thing on the president now, on him now. I believe also, Cesar, that the fact that he has gotten used to applaud all these years, whenever he's on the soccer pitch, whenever he entered the stadium, people applaud him for what he was about to do and what he has done in the past. And we're human being. You get used to those kinds of stuff. They're difficult. And the time, if you watch George Weah, the time he left the field up to the time he became president, he was never himself. He was always like somebody trouble. But when he became president and started getting those clapping and singing and stuff again, you could see his demeanor, his psyche, everything started moving up again. But I think this is not the place. And so I made my point the other day to say, President, we are sorry, but your request to be reelected has been denied by me. And of course, I got no power whatsoever. But anyway, so that's one thing. And then another thing about CDC, I'm on there again tonight, but about CDC, I believe they got nothing to offer. And as you all were pointing out, and I will count on you on this one here. As you all were pointing out, those who are handling the affair of CDC and this president, they are inept. I would say so. They claim to be educated, but they are not. You know, you can have the education from the classroom, but the application process of what you learn from the classroom make you a serious educated person. And these people, even if the president was just going around cleaning people's fingernails, document those things. You have social media nowadays that wherever you think that the president and this administration have done, and you can think about it and crowd about it, document it in a video form and say, this is where we were, like President Salih did. This is where we were. This is where Liberia were when we came in. This is where we are now. But what they do? Oh, we build road. Well, Jesus Christ, what road is it? Toilet road? You build toilet road? Is that what you build? No, you build roads. Okay, tell us, what are some of the things in this road? Show us. You show us some Guinean picture, you said a Liberian picture, people come and debunk you, and you want people to trust you. You go and lie, copy from Jamaica, road project in Jamaica, pull it on and say that George, we are doing this in Liberia. And the people in Guinea will come and debunk you. The people don't even live in Liberia. And you expect people to believe you because you say so. It is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. And so one last one here, I think CDC have nothing to offer. As a result, they keep going after Ambassador Baka health issue, you know, as though they're trying to frighten the Liberians from making President Baka the president by going after the health issue. Let the Liberian people decide on that. And so that would be my few tabata here tonight. I ask you to help me out, so I don't want to put my foot in my mouth again like the sedition would do. I will try not to do that tonight. But go ahead. What's on your plate, sir?
I think if you didn't let in the matches already, then you come and run away.
I can hear you. Your mic is forward. Yeah.
I said, I think if you didn't let in the matches already, then you come and run away. But can you hear me better?
Yeah, much better.
Okay. I think on the issue of accountability, I've been one person on this platform who've always said that President George Weah, as upon Weah, actually made some of us proud to be Liberians.
Yes.
In his heydays. I don't have to support his political ambition to be truthful. In his heyday, some of us were marking the arches and breaking number 14 on our back, playing in Jalatan, calling out for George Weah, you know. So and we went to so many zinc shacks to watch him mesmerize the world with his feet and his talent, the Black Diamond of Africa. And you're right, there are a lot of things that had to be in place for him to get to where he got, to be world best, to be African best, to be European best. And but for that one time where he had that altercation on the soccer field, nobody can point to any one place where he was unruly off or on the soccer field. And so it took a lot of intelligence, emotional intelligence, maturity, and a lot of commitment to his craft to get to where he got. We got to give him that. And so when I see, like you said, the level of dysfunction in a government, then I'm baffled because then I start to think about, okay, well, you hire people and give them a job. And some of these people are just, like you said, they're not up to the task. So that necessarily is not 100% his fault. But where it becomes his, as in President Weah's fault, is when you continue to allow your sympathy for these folks, to allow your sympathy to mask their inability, which then creates an embarrassment for you or creates a life-threatening situation in some instances for Liberians. And I think that is where I hold him responsible, right? And you can have a good intent all you want, but if your effect is wrong and it's hurtful and it's harming people, then we don't care about your intent most of the time, right? If your intent was to go donate money to the church, but you want to rob a bank and kill somebody, right? Your intent doesn't matter at that point, right? And so for me, I you know, every powerful person will always have jackals. You always have these vultures, these moral vultures that stand for nothing, and they will come everywhere to pick on the carcass of anything. And so you have people who will always, you know, sing to the praises of the emperor, even if the emperor is not doing well. So you spoke about the applause. Look, fame is intoxicating and it's addictive. Fame is intoxicating and it is very addictive. And it's not just to George Weah alone. People always want people in their corner who will clap for them and make them feel they're doing great. Our most recent example here with Donald Trump, he had people who were enabling his behavior that other people were calling out, right? And so, but I think the difference, and I think what we expect of true leaders who want people to exemplify them after they are gone and who want to leave legacies, is that you are able to see your friend and say, yo, man, you're really bringing my name down. I'm either going to move you this way or I'm going to move you this way. And then the flip side of that also is to have friends who are so loyal to their friends to understand that their presence in the situation is causing more harm to their friend and that they need to exit the stage so that they don't create more problems, right? You talk about the issue of people taking pictures from other places and lying when they got no reason whatsoever to lie. These unforced errors, these unforced issues, they're creating more problems for President Weah than they are helping him. When the president first came to office, to talk about the issue of people highlighting the things they've done. Remember when he went to the Lapabido? Mm-hmm. And they carried a video behind him, and I was on Facebook saying, only a George Weah can do that and look authentic. Mm-hmm. Oh no, George Weah can do that. But my boy can do that. We know say he's faking it. And right. He can do that. We know he's faking it because that's not his thing. That's not his niche.
Right.
Right. And I think at one point in time they had cordoned off some part of Central Monrovia, and he was playing pickup soccer.
Yeah, right down Waterside on in the street.
Only a George Weah can do that.
Mm-hmm. And you have people in the ring traveling from all the way across the bridge to come watch.
Yes, because for some of us who grew up on the avenues in Cinco, we know when on Russell Avenue, cars are not coming, you can play a quick tambo on a car road. Mm-hmm. So he was not doing something that the common people that was kind of foreign to the common people. It's something people like, oh yeah, we do that still. You know, so only a George Weah would do that. And that was huge. That was a good publicity. But then somewhere along the way, they stopped doing that. And then they started creating these unforced errors, these made-up pictures where somebody would take of Guinea or somewhere else and post and say this is happening in Liberia. Things are so easily verifiable And you lie. You're not telling us that the thing was in space, what we're looking for SpaceX, to go to. You're telling me the thing is in Lo-Fi, and there are cars traveling up and down Lo-Fi bringing food. Why would you do stuff like that? So I think for me, accountability requires, suggests that George will be accountable. At the end, he appointed all these people, but sometimes I feel for him. And this is by no means an endorsement of George Weah. Everybody knows here that I support Tiawan Congo, right? But this is by no means an endorsement of George Weah, but it's an understanding of the human factor, because you and I've hired people before that it was very difficult for me to fire. And I kept going, my man, you're doing bad things, my man, you got to come to a job on time. My man, you got to do the thing on time. My man, you got to do it. And they still will not show up. But when you elevate that to the level of the nation state, I think the president, I expect him to have taken action a long time and remove some people. And I've expected him to not have done certain things he did, like getting involved in with the anti-corruption report against the minister of agriculture and all those other pieces. Those were unforced errors. And the most recent piece. And thank you, Chair Unbreakable Tape, for the correction. It was on Kerry Street that the president had a pickup soccer match and not on Waterside. Thank you for that.
I tell you what, no, it has to be Waterside. It has to be Waterside. I mean, it is Waterside. It's not Kerry Street. It is Waterside. No, dude, go check it out. Go, if you want me to show you some video right now, I can.
So at the end of the day, the most recent thing that happened at the RIA with this Moringa / meth seizure, a lot of unforced errors. First of all, the situation happened at the end of August, where those boxes were confiscated. The government says nothing. Nobody says anything until this week or last week, when news reports are coming up, okay? So you confiscate boxes, okay? And you say that you need to seize them. So on what charge are you seizing those boxes if you didn't open them? Why did you confiscate it? And if you open them up and you decide to confiscate them, that means you have a reasonable belief that the things that are contained in those boxes contravene the laws of the republic.
Sister Hoya, Todd. The man who I come and bring it, please don't share my secret with him here tonight when I'm gone, please.
Okay, bring
Yeah. Let me bring these two gentlemen in here. And the other person, I don't know why he come to join us here to come ruin our beautiful show we're having tonight. But go ahead.
So you seize boxes of materials, but you do not arrest the person who had the boxes of materials that you seized. So one of two things have to be true. Either the boxes contain things that you were authorized by law to confiscate, and if you do, the person bringing those things in must have violated the laws, and so you need to arrest them.
But the person himself identified himself on the video.
But wait, or if you're going to take the person's stuff and don't arrest them, why are you seizing their stuff? Because if you're not arresting me, that means the thing I'm bringing into the country does not violate any law. So why are you taking my property? And then they don't open them up, because according to the last press stuff they didn't open up these boxes. So then on what ground were you seizing these things if you didn't even open them up to see what's in it? And then fast forward, they go to LRA, the Liberian Revenue Authority, to test drugs. Right?
Is that a new testing ground, not DEA anymore?
Where is the LRA? Right? They want to say these are boxes of moringa. And they got
what is moringa anyway? Is that marijuana?
No. It's some leaves that people
sort of leaf based in India.
People use for herb. It's an herbal stuff, like you drink it for malaria, for other things to cleanse the system and stuff like that.
Wow.
Okay.
The only thing I know about malaria that terramazine, that the only thing a long time ago.
Terramazine for malaria. What kind of malaria they make? They get terramazine for malaria.
That 19 will win malaria.
But on a serious note, you bring people on, and to show, I guess somehow that's their way of verifying that the items were harmless. They're chewing it on live TV. Why?
Yeah.
And then you bring back the person, the accused, the alleged importer of these stuff, and say the person is here while we open these boxes today. So for the last 1 week plus that you had these things in government custody, you hadn't opened them to do an investigation, and if you didn't open them, why you seized them? Yeah. And now we get to find out that Councillor Musa Dean has to come out and say, well, upon further testing by the Drugs Enforcement Authority, which is the rightful people that are supposed to test this thing in the first place, they found that there were a meth in these things. So now my question.
So what happened to the people that were chewing it?
So why did the government even have to have a conversation without even allowing the LDE and everybody to do their investigation, their testing before coming out? Why were they in so much of a hurry? Now, if you come up with anything, even if it's factual, people will treat it with suspicion. My only thing I want to lay out in all of this argument is I've been seeing some lazy arguments out there that say Findabondo and President George Weah were the ones that ordered these drugs, and this guy brought them for them. And my argument is that will not hold water. The president of the Republic of Liberia is importing something, and it's going to be some RIA and AFL assigned officer that's going to go to stop it. You want to tell me the president couldn't go to the airport and make it high level to pass through there and bring it? So that could not be the president ordering. It makes absolute no sense. And with the power we have assigned to Findabondo, it can't be Findabondo either, because people have said that she has so much power. She would not be going through some sideline where there is some AFL soldier that's blocking that. They would have found a way to make that, put in a diplomatic pouch and get it out. And so for me, we have to draw the lines where the lines reach. I don't think this gets to the executive mansion.
Okay.
But I think this guy and his group needs to be investigated. And this is the right thing they've done already is they have suspended him immediately while investigation is going on. I applaud the government for doing that. But I think they need to make sure that this does not end up like all of the other investigations where people get suspended and there is no finality to the investigation.
Okay, well, thank you. I just pray for Livingstone. He's a friend. I pray that he will be okay. I hope that nothing else happened to him. Let me go to Mr. So. What's your reason of coming on here tonight, Mr. So? Can you hear me? Huh?
What's your question?
What is your reason of gracing the show tonight?
So then let me flip the coins. What is your reason of being here?
I am the host.
Host of what?
Mr. So, yeah. I will tell you, welcome to LPR by parking you in the garage.
Wait, you see the intro. The man took 20 minutes to show his pictures, his various pictures all over the place.
Yeah. Wait, who are you?
Okay, guys. Good evening. Liberal, good to see you. We'll be back in full turret. Good to have you. Yeah, my understanding, you and the Liberal now, you have created something different. I was inside Liberia and these complaints began to come in. But trust me, that barricade or stuff you build out, it will be thwarted. But anyway,
but you know,
yes,
man.
I know. I mean, just kidding. Thank you so much. I mean, you guys really been hanging out there. I agree with
Terry has done a wonderful job, and Cisse and the entire crew. But they are setting sedition, refuse to come on, and I'm waiting to see them here tomorrow. Like the I number 9 and Water Cutter. Let them come in here tomorrow.
You see, this is the problem. How many days to the election today? And you still want to be cherry picking instead of twisting them.
I don't want CBC to be read like that. I don't want that. I don't want President Weah to be read like that. So
that's not what I'm saying. Who you want to be? Who you want to be later?
Ambassador Buckeye. What do you mean?
So your energy, your time, your resources must be invested into Boyka. But
that's correct.
You are incorrectly split. No. Give me a time. we're having a conversation. You're not doing that. But anyway, we will talk that. But we see the point. I've been getting some information relative to what is happening. Those informations yet to be authenticated, verified. But I agree with CC analysis. But because of the polarized society and divided nation that we have had, and also on past experiences as to how government has conducted herself, things happened. They kind of like wait and wait until people begin to make judgment, and later on to come. That also put dents on the administration. But I think that was a good decision taken by the government, that immediate suspension. And just to add to what Cece is saying, suspension is not just all about it. But I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to go much further, considering the consequential time, the days and clock, and seeing what is happening now. They will want to show strength. But will they show that strength in terms of bringing those corporate, those who are responsible? Because Livingstone, first of all, he did a stupid thing. This is a very knowing fully well at this period of time. I don't know what prompted him to making the statements, doing the video without even the Ministry of Justice security apparatus to come in to say something and always say, oh, no, this is not a situation. Yeah, we are. We now know what so first of all, he lied. So that your tendency of always praying for evil is bad.
Mr. So he's my friend. What do you mean by praying for? He's my friend. I pray to God that you'll be okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But being a friend too, you got to pray for friends to do the right thing. This is the same thing that you pray. This is how some of you will come into the picture again, will come back to the same thing. You will bring your friends into government. They will start to do things, and they will tell us to pray for. Tell me, look, trust me, my knee at this level, at this age, I can't just put my knee somewhere and just pray for anything because I want to pray. No, I'm not going to do that. If you want to do it,
prayer,
go ahead and do it.
Difference between you. Prayer is not a conservative thing. Prayer is a liberal idea. So you pray for everybody to be fine, Mr. So it's God thing. And I anything to say, I don't know why you're frowning on my prayer. I have the right, constitutional right. And just remember, of course, now I see why. You're just coming from Liberia, where people freedom are curtailed over there. But you're here in the United States now, in America, where my freedom to pray anytime and anywhere.
That's a wrong presentation. Don't say, if you say that, then you are just there wrong. People speak their mind. So I mean, but anyway, I'm not going to get into a fight with you. You always like to fight, even though your battle always in the losing end. I don't know why you like to fight. I want other folks to come on. So we all are waiting. Suspension is taking place. What next? The aftermath of the suspension. Is this guy being used as a sacrificial lamb for other people to do certain things, or is he and other folks that are involved? He needs to come clean, and that investigations surmise it will be speeded. They will come to light. If they don't do it, considering all that is happening, then this president putting his political career on the line. It is already tough battle. If you go inside Liberia, you talk to people who don't want to speak off camera. They are putting up this sort of huge presence of, but the conversation actually on ground with people you talk to is a difficult thing. But I'm not going to pray for something. I have a lot of prayers, I think that I can do. But people who look at something deliberately, knowing fully well you shouldn't have done that in the first place, I'm not going to pray for that.
That's okay. Thank you. Let me go to, before I bring in Mike down, let me go to Terry. Thank you for not praying, but I have the right to pray, and I pray he's my friend. I pray that he will be okay. Let's go to Terry. Terry, what's on your plate this evening?
Well, those are the hot topics that you guys have put already outside. And again, it's good to see Mr. So back in the U.S. Thank God for safe arrival. You know, however,
you stay in Nigeria.
Oh, you stay in Nigeria?
No, the man, the man eating Kazali, but private anything in Nigeria.
I've seen the man, all the man documents behind him, there, the people on the wall.
Yeah.
So I know he's not
the man, running the good thing.
But you know, shop, you know, all the food, the fresh food, you know, you look good.
I don't know, like 2 hours eating something organic.
You see?
And now you are eating fruits, sunny in the car, or eating some real natural stuff from the soil.
Sorry, it was you.
Natural organic food. But
Yeah.
anyway, those are just the hot topics for the whole entire all coming and all going. We're all seeing that President Weah, is on the campaign tour, but this drug thing is really going to cause a serious problem for him. And I think he had to deal with it drastically. But again, will Bobby Livingston be able to, just come up in a way wherein
Wait, you say who? Somebody else named
Sam Livingstone.
Oh, Sam Livingstone. It reminds me about Bobby Livingston.
No, that's a lawyer.
But that's a slip of tongue anyway. So, but Sam Livingstone, I used to see him in the U.S. stalking for George Weah when George Weah won, and he was looking authentic. But I'm surprised that apparently he was doing all these things just to get a job, to create an avenue to extract these kind of things. We don't know, but I don't want to believe that he did that on his own. And if he is really going to be investigated rapidly, which that will happen, it means that there are a lot of people that are going to be pulled in. There are a lot of big names we're going to hear, because we're not even hearing about the plane. Which plane brought these drugs into the country? What was the name of the flight? When did they arrive? And all those kind of things. We don't have all those information, which
nobody can
very
see
essential.
Okay.
Thank you.
Quickly, Mr. Toll.
Hold on. Let me do this. I Sensei here this evening to help me out, and he taking time off to help me. Sensei, until I come back, I turn this program on to you, and you run it through anybody you want to bring it. Right?
This guy. This is unbelievable. This guy has surrendered his.
Wow. So, Mr. Toll, you are running away.
Yes, I'm here.
You the class secretary. Anybody that made noise, right there, knee down. Right, all the noise make them knee down.
Okay,
power.
Wait a minute, guys. So this guy has surrendered his soul and belly to whole of Minnesota now. You have Sister Goyo there. You have Terry. Really?
I said, I will be back. You ready to not make a knee down that you will be punished at the end of the class.
I will be back. No, on a very serious note, since they take control.
I will do that. I will definitely do that. I will do that.
Okay. Yeah, Mr.
I wish you. I wish you well wherever you are going now, Mr.
I'll be back.
You're coming right back. So to continue with the train of thought that Terry was on, and Terry, were you done? Because I wanted to pivot to Mark.
Yeah, okay. No problem. You can go ahead.
So, Mark, how are you? Has Mr. Saul will come to you. I know you got a burning question for Terry. But Mark, how are you? How's Liberia today? And what say you about what's going on?
Well, I'm very great this morning, and it's just a few minutes to 1 a.m. here. As you know, people at about this time, everyone is in bed. But however, this is a duty that we pledge to do. So we have to be up and then informing the people about what is happening. But I think Mr. So and the other and you all have said it. The training issue here is about this bus of a drug, this narcotic substance that people initially took it to be. People initially say it was security apparatus. Initially say it was moringa leaf. Moringa is a herbal substance, not illegal. But then today it was after tests were run on it. It was discovered that this is actually a methamphetamine, which is a narcotic drug under the United Nations drug law. So we are hoping that you guys were saying we are hoping that again, this it will not be that the 100 million drug case that this will go more deeper, because the Minister of Justice in his release today on Tuesday stated that he's hoping, he was urging, in fact, the security apparatus, the police, and the DA to go deeper with the investigation to ascertain as to how and where this particular narcotic substance came from. Again, we hoping that all due diligence will be done so that this particular substance, the origin of it can be established. Even though Mr. Livingstone, who you people were talking about, has told journalists that this was a consignment belonging to Mananora Finabono, who is the chief of staff to the president.
Let me hold you right there, Mark. Let me hold you right there. Did he? Because I heard deniers about that. Did he tell journalists that, because there seemed to be a conflicting information, that he told people when he was first arrested that it belonged to Finabondo, but he has since denied that. So did he actually tell journalists that, or did he tell the AFL officers that were confiscating the materials?
Well, he denied any wrongdoing when he spoke to journalists initially, saying that he only received a consignment which belongs to Finda, but it was not his. And then it was later because they had initially said that it was not a bad substance, and then it was a moringa leaf, in fact. But it was through the investigation that now that people have noticed that it is a harmful substance. He initially said he didn't do anything wrong. He was not receiving a product.
I would get there, because he was even on the scene, and he even went live. So the video is there. My only thing I'm trying to understand is, because I've been trying to put this together, that some folks say he told the AFL when his bus was blocked and the material was confiscated. I think he was trying to get them off the way, so he said belonged to Finabondo. But then they're saying that he did not say that, and so I just want to find out whether that was something he told to the AFL or that was actually something he said to the press, because I couldn't see any video of him saying to the press, and I just want to find out.
Apparently, from what we've been hearing, what he also told some of our colleagues who were there, who spoke with him Monday, was that he was taking the box to the owner, which is Finabondo, when it was intercepted by the AFL. But then the AFL too, they decided to take a photo so that the DA and others can come in to investigate. This is what the conversation went. Why?
Thank you. And since you're in Liberia, let me ask you one more question. To the best of your knowledge, because I've not seen it anywhere, and again, I might not have access to multiple Liberian platforms like you would. Has the government said, the security apparatus, the authorities at the RIA or the LDA, have they said any reason for the lapse in time from the time the items were confiscated to the time they opened it, as to why they never opened it to test it all within that time frame?
Actually, no. It was only today that the DA released, which we also got a copy here, that they tested the substance, saying that it is a narcotic substance. So they were going to be doing some deeper investigation, but they didn't go forward to say how it was going to be there.
Okay, thank you, Mr. So. You seem to have had an input.
And that's a very critical question. And this is has been the struggle of past, not just only this government, past government, their ability to get hands on something quickly to avoid apprehensions and a lot of doubt from the public sector, their inability to kind of like come with that sort of robust address, which would guarantee or reassure citizens that, hey, their government is transparent. The Helen Johnson, the Samuel Doe, all of these things, they were always funny. That struggle has been there as to how, when these sort of critical things comes about, how to address it, how to put it to a rest, they will scramble away. But there's something that comes to mind. We are so used to this whole distraction here. The drugs on is there already. Now, is this another big political ploy? Let's put this thing out there. Let's create this drama. We always like to go for debate and we get distracted. How many days to the election? And everybody attention, the media likes to play this sort of stuff here, and everybody attention going to be going on this here. And the possibility of having the endless investigation, even before this whole election is over, it most likely because people are occupied. They could do it. But I am concerned.
Wait there. Before you pivot, let's go down that rabbit hole. I won't go down that rabbit hole with you. I want you to paint for us a picture of how getting a top member of your security apparatus arrested for bringing illicit drug into the country helps you win election as CDC.
Not a matter of winning election, but it creates a distraction from the public, from other opposition. Opposition going to be running with it. They're going to be investing time and energy. And what I'm saying here, drugs has been in the country from time to time, and it is there. But will that be the message? Will that be the winning message for this election? I'm concerned. Or will they keep focused to just add to it? Look, these are some of the reasons why we want to take will it be their talking point? Would this be the talking point of our media industry now from asking some of these people? In fact, your tier one gonglo, the Moliba, how do you intend to come back to fight drugs? It is already there. Will we have this sort of conversation?
Well, actually, to sort of take my moderator hat off because he asked a question about my guy, and we've been saying this over and over. We're not worried about the old time of Zogos and the Zogo young stars, right? The Unity Party and the CDC, because they always say, oh, that anytime Zogo, no, that Joe we are time Zogo. So now the Zogo All Stars or the Zogo Young Stars, right? We're not worried about the people who started bringing drugs and the people who say that push we want, right? We are looking on how to make sure that we get both of these people that are using like table tennis. Now seven Zogo Seth, now 7 Kush Seth. The Unity Party and the CDC want to remove them, prosecuting people. And
I think of this.
I'll put it back on. But let me ask a critical question, Mark. I'll come to you real quick. Just one second, because I want to pivot from. I want to draw a line between what Mr. So said to Collins. The Unity Party, which you support, have been out there pushing this drug issue really hard. The issue about Kush. We've seen on campaign trails the likes of Darius DeLon and Yombli Kanga and everybody. If I Ellis Tyler in Bombing talk about the drug pandemic when he endorsed Boakai, the former vice president been talking about it, right? So you guys have been trying to paint the George Weah administration as the Kush administration, right. and you had children in the street. I mean, not children, but young people in the street saying that Kush will won. Almost like he came my mind, came my power, will vote for him, nobody, now nobody, I will vote for him. All of these other campaign slogans that got people into offices. Do you see what Mr. So is saying as a strategy that maybe because your team and the ANC have been running with this thing way too much? Do you see that as a strategy to maybe distract you from the issues, or is the issue of drugs in the proliferation of drugs in Liberia already a campaign strategy for you, and this is just feeding into your campaign strategy?
Yeah, I think Mr. So is right. Actually, it's an addition to the campaign strategy. And to be honest with you, it seems like it's working in favor of JMB, all right, or the opposition, because the aspect of this drug thing, I don't want to believe it should really be used, but I don't think that the CDC-led government is doing well with the propaganda on this Kush and drugs thing. And to make it worse, is this recent burst out or exposure of this drug. So they're not really handling that issue very well. But you and I know that drugs have been in Liberia for many years. Most of all, we either got one or two family members that is addicted to drugs. So it is an issue, and drugs comes different. They have different levels of drugs. Even in the United States, we get meth here. So obviously, they got different stages of drugs, and drugs progress. All right, those guys can make the drug stronger because when the system get adapted to a certain kind of drug, you have to upgrade it. So, but the CDC-led government is not doing well in tackling the propaganda about this drug thing. So the opposition seems to be using it as a means to grab, to take voters on their side. But one of the things I see in this government that really shocked me is for Musa Dean to come up publicly and go ahead to announce. I think that is a sign that something is going on in the inner cycle of this government.
But
that
I think
might likely, break them apart.
So Mark, let me bring you in because you're using your data, and I know it's very late in Monrovia. So I mean in Liberia. So let me ask a question, and then feel free to pivot or add on.
Go ahead.
So here is the issue, right? CDC right now, people try to malign them with the proliferation of drugs. The issue of the proliferation of drug usage around the world since the COVID-19, everywhere, every nation has seen an increase, a spike in the use of drugs because of people's social distancing, people staying home. There are a lot of research about that. Now, if the CDC were to investigate this importation of drugs, this particular one, forget all the other ones, because people have always accused them of allowing people to go with impunity. Say they prosecute this one really faster, and it is clear and glaring, and he and his co-conspirators are all incarcerated. Does the CDC now have a leg up to say, we started catching the coach people? We've started something, give us 6 more years, and we will continue where we started from with this guy. Does that play into a campaign strategy for the CDC?
I don't think so, because it's going to be a bit difficult for them because one may say Ottawa is too late for study, because on several occasions, not only this drug investigation, there have been so many investigations that there have been no good outcome of it in terms of prosecution and in terms of punishment of perpetrators. So I don't think they have any edge if at all this particular case is speedily prosecuted or tried. They have already had a lot of manners in time past, and I think this is what the opposition is making serious use of it, and it is a serious manners for them at this crucial time, a campaign stage, that the such a news keep coming up. I think the government need to re-strategize its strategy if at all it wants to retain the seat. But Mr. Goya, to admit, this is not a plus for them. You say yes. Statistics are proving that because of COVID, people have been distancing, and then drug, the issue of drug has increased. But in the case of Liberia, in the George Weah administration, the case have been the number uh, of drug users have over the past time increased speedily. Even before the COVID-19 pandemic which struck the country, the number of drug users has increased speedily. So I don't think they will have any other plus on their part if all this particular case is prosecuted. The statistic you gave, that scenario is not applied to Liberia, unfortunately. We are not saying that in time past there were not people using drug, but then the level of increase, the increment at this level with the introduction of a new substance called kush or meta is getting worse, and then now and then so many young people have been addicted to it, and as a result criminalities have increased to the level many experts are saying that the government is responsible for. So they need to actually re-strategize as to what they can do, and how they can go about tackling the issue of drug. It has been a campaign strategy, a campaign message now for the opposition here, saying that if you want drug, vote we are. If you want kush, in fact, vote we are. If yeah,
Leave it to
I
Lebron
mean,
people to trivialize everything. But just before Mr. So coming, by
yeah,
Gerald, Mr. Cummings, I put a link out there if you want to join us. The link is out there in the chat. So click on that and come on. Mr. So, I know you're itching to ask some critical questions. I'm here thinking, and I want you just recently out of Liberia, and my brother Mark is in Liberia. In your interactions, who do you think who do the Liberian people place the majority of the blame on for the current spike in drug use and waywardness in the youth? Are you seeing people wholly placing their blame on the George Weah government using this John 11:35 verse, Jesus wept, and nobody look at what happened before Jesus wept? Or are people really going back and saying this started during Ellen time or even the Taylor time during the war? And if this has been something that's been a slow progression, what are you saying? I'll start with Mr. So, and then Mark, you can come in, and then I'll pivot to Terry.
It's a sort of convoluted one. I don't want to use people perception, because all of these things, when you are talking about it, for us here on this network, whether people like what we say, we like to be honest in what we're saying, and specifically to like you or data guys to point out it. To come out here to say, okay, George Weah government is responsible for this, it means I have to get a source to validate my argument as to how. So it's a very difficult thing. Difficult in the sense that the society is divided. The society is polarized. Is divided heavily on politics, partisan line, not necessarily putting the interest of their country. So if you meet person A here and talk to that person, and that person A is a sympathizer of the government, of course, they're going to take a definitive position to say, no, we are not responsible. If you go on the other side, they will say the same thing. So depending who you talk to, they're going to give their own roadmap. But what I do know, it's a serious problem, and people have realized that in the country, how dangerous it is, how it has polluted our society. So say for the first time, just recently during the week, I saw the reaction of that stuff, substance or whatever they call kush. And then I will
yeah,
ask the church, oh, big brother, that kush doing that. It's like person literally dying and you just resurrect it. I don't know. That is a very dangerous thing. So what I'm really interested in is how can we fight that? Look at our borders. Do we have the capacity? Even this great country, and people say, oh, you're defending, but do we have the capacity? Who are those bringing these things to play? Like the instance of this one, where we get to the borderline, how it got to rubber feet. It didn't walk by line. It's some plain blood, like Terry said. There must be a connection. There must be a bio and where it's coming from. So this is where the investigation should be going. It is insufficient, Musa Dane, to just come down. And we look at the timeline. By this time, they should come up with a comprehensive, at least 60 to 40, or let's say 55% information as to how, when that thing got there, who are the principal suspects. But I'm afraid that we will not know until this whole thing comes to an end.
But before I get to Mark real quick, that was the reason I asked the question about if this is prosecuted to a conclusion for the first time,
Yeah.
would that
So
send
okay.
a different message? Because
Okay. So it's a win. It's a win. It's a win-win, and
right,
that's what I was saying.
yeah, 1 second, let me land, then you finish. Because you just pointed to a few things, and what came to my mind was even the issue of the cache of arms that were at the Freeport. That
Right.
at one time our government was partnering with the FBI here to have an investigation, and that has not gone to a conclusion. And most recently, we had the issue of the $100 million drug bust that ended up in Lebron beginning and say in Che, it ended up in Che. And so now, if the government were to prosecute this, to start to show that yes, not everything ends the way it's been going, that we have a new vision, we have a new muscle, would that now help them in their political argument? And then real quick, and then I'll go to Mark with the same question.
Well, that's a life. How do you call it? How you call it? Like somebody is on life support, situation. Because if they did that today, and for them to come to a conclusion, and there's a corporate that somebody is being arrested, why it is true, it is a good thing. But then other people of second thought or free thinker like myself say, wait a minute, why this coming to a full conclusion? Even though I need a result, I need an answer who brought that and why they brought it. And then we're going to go back to all of these other things that happen. But wait a minute, why all of these things have been going on? Why we didn't get answer and we're trying to get answer? Is it that this government is trying to show strength and to make their political argument? Look at, they say we can't do X, Y, Z, but see what we have done. This is what I'm saying. The opposition, they got to be very careful in doing this thing here. It's a win-win thing here. Remember, and people who don't know politics, there's a risk involved in politics. People do all sort of things. The revolutions of Muammar Gaddafi, what happened? All of the folks that came with him, he decided to do certain things that people could not believe. Now, other people could use it in the end times as a sacrificial lamb to get their political gains. But again, it all depends what's going to happen and how it's going to be prosecuted, because other people are going to say, but wait a minute, why this one and all the other one has not been prosecuted? So they shouldn't put all their eggs in one basket to say, okay, we want to move this government because of drugs. That is insufficient. So I would be asking you, how do you, okay, you're moving in, what are your plans? How do you intend to combat? What are the resources? What are you going to be using? There are other people who are prioritizing job, infrastructure, development, health, and all other things. However, drugs is a very crucial thing that no society really want, because it damage our young generation, people of today's world. So I'm saying they need to open up, let it not be distracted to say, oh, because this is it, and they just want to throw their whole campaign strategy into it. Let's move this government because of drugs. That is not a winning strategy, I can tell you.
So Mark, to you, I know you already laid this to rest that that would not be a winning strategy for the CDC, but I wanted to ask you a question that Mr. So tiptoed and danced around, and that was the issue of the feelings on the ground. You live on the ground. You're a journalist. You've talked to people. Anecdotal evidence. What are you hearing? Are people wholly blaming the CDC government for the proliferation of drugs? Or are people looking back to the genesis and saying this thing started with many other governments and it should not just be at the table of the CDC government?
Well, this is another problem that, to be fair, that many opposition leaders and many critics of the government are not fairly speaking to the issue. Liberia has well over 47,000 plus at-risk youth, many of whom are drug takers, narcotic substance. They live in the ghettos and in some slum communities. Even, they are very dangerous. And this did not start just 5 years ago. Remember, there have been several international programs in Liberia. You're talking about rehabilitation of people that that they call Zogo. So it did not start just 5 years ago. However, since the Georgia government has also been blamed for the level poor economic situation in the country. As a result, the opposition, they are making massive use of this, saying that since indeed because of a poor governance is what the level of outrage use have increased over the period of time, or drug users have increased over the period of time. But they are not actually looking at the genesis to admit as to how this started. It started ever since the end of the war. We have some people who were traumatized as a result. They resorted to uses of drugs, and then they've been on and the number continued to increase gradually. We're talking about well over 45 to 47,000 of them in Liberia. Yes, so it's not just it did not start during the administration of President George Weah, but since Weah is the one head of the government, he's taking all of the blames, and it's not the way that I mean, the way to tackle it and the idea are not been properly advanced. For example, just last year there was a fundraising a launch, 13.9 million fundraising project to rehabilitate those drug users. Again, the users have been targeted, but what's about those
Was that the one that was that the one that Senator Darius Dillon donated to and they gave money back to him?
Hello, come again.
Was that program that Senator Dillon donated money to and they gave it back to him?
No, it was a government initiative with the UN. $13.9 million. I don't know up to this time how many $1 million have been raised so far, but the president then initially raised, pledged $1 million US, so as to top the $13.9 million. But again, we don't know the status of that project. The Minister of Youth and Sport is the best person who answer that question. And so rehabilitation
is budget, or he would be like the other guy who didn't know they had $2 million in the budget for him.
The minister, are you talking about the Minister of Youth and Sport?
Yeah, and so guy Wesley will know whether the money in the budget for him, or he'll be like the guy at the transport that said he didn't know they had $2 million in the budget for him.
No, there were. I don't think there was budget allocated for in the current
I'm playing around.
budget, but they were talking about they had several there have been several rally going on. People are pledging money, and I remember one of the local producers here, Seti Brella, donated $25,000 to that effect to the fund, to the Array Youth Fund, and so we're hoping that they were going to raise the money to rehabilitate, because some of those guys, they are actually traumatized. Even though those who are breaking it to, they are the root cause of those of the increment in the number of Zogos.
So 1 second, let me pivot.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me pivot to Terry, because he's been sitting very quietly for a while, and then Mr. So I'll come back to you. So Terry, the issue of drugs availability in Liberia on the streets and this effect on Liberians' youth. Do you believe that the Charlie Kintan thing, the thing started way by Charlie Kintan, and therefore your guy and your party that you support share some responsibilities in this? Or do you believe that it is the issue of the CDC said we're bringing hope for change or change for hope? I can never get which one it was, but some kind of change and some kind of hope are coming, and that they should be held responsible because they are the government in power. Do you want us to do the John 11:35, Jesus wept, or should we go back and read the Old Testament and to link up to the New Testament, John 11:35?
I think, to be very honest with you, we got to go back to the war. That's why Mark said that. I think Mark was going there, but he didn't fully go there. The drugs proliferation in our society started from during the war. Those boys used to take drugs. Charles and all the rebel leaders, they used to give our children drugs to go and fight, to make them brave to fight. So after the war, that addiction remained in the society. And then other new people too started becoming incorporated. So everybody, like for me, during early time, I was coming from work at night and I was raided by 3 guys with cutlasses. right in front of, right at my junction. All right. You know, even during child sitter time, those boys don't used to stand on the street, but child sitter cracked down on the criminals. So as a result, one way or the other, the drugs were being curtailed under child sitter government to some extent. But those guys were growing, they were multiplying, they were increasing during child sitter time, but the numbers were not as huge as the way it is now. All right. So early time, they also grow to some extent too. And it was during early time the name Zogo was identified. And we must also understand that there are a lot of kind of drugs. They got Doogie, they get Italian white, they got a white girl, all kind of drugs.
They having cocaine and meth.
Different drugs.
So pretty much during Taylor time, the thing that was dwarf. During early time became human being that can corner.
And the main reason why it is growing faster.
Terry, hold on 1 second. This is LeBron Public Radio. Who am I speaking with?
Yeah, this is Breakable Power.
Yeah, the flower baker, yeah. Terry, hold on 1 second. Let Breakable Power come make flower.
I'm making my body do chibu.
Okay, what you say, man? And I see you on a plenty life. What are you making flowers? What you got?
No, I'm not making flowers. The problem is, you can really see the truth. You mean everything politics. I like help my feelings. Okay. No, man.
Go ahead.
We don't do something like help my feelings. All I want to tell the truth. But okay, people talk to be battling, to be defending everything.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me bring the other person on, then you continue. Hold on. Okay, Breakable Power, go on, and then 404, just hold on. After Breakable Power, you'll be next. Go ahead, your thought. Breakable Power, can you hear me? Hello? Anybody on the line can hear me? 404 number.
We're here.
All right. So Gianna catch me. Hello. Okay, let me drop one and see if Breakable will still be on. You know what? I'll call both of them back. 1 second. 1 second. Yeah. Let me get these folks. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Huh. All right. Well, go ahead, Terry. As you were saying, when I get them back on the line, then they will
Yeah. So I think during this government, the reason why the proliferation of drugs have increased so mightily is because there's a free flow of drugs into the country that is not being curtailed. I think the best way to tackle the drugs issue is to cut the supplier. Once you cut off the supplier and you do a raiding of the major ghettos in the country, every now and then there should be major raiding. But for a long time, I've not heard the government raiding ghettos. You have to raid those ghettos. It's almost like the ants big. Once you destroy the ants big, definitely the ants,
Okay, go ahead. Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry, Terry. Go ahead. Make a point, please.
Okay. Look, let me say a very big thing, Terry. Today, Terry, you myself on the same side. You talk like a real patriotic citizen. When something happens, sometimes we have to put the politics aside and be real. All with this thing that happened, we're against it. It brings some stuff in the campaign as a way of really want to see the campaign continue. But the matter of fact is, as Mr. Toast said, the whole case about this just issue in the country in Labrador is the basis is for Ghana. It started from the one working in our country. We got a lot of things to do before that work stops. The war continue on until we see ourselves fortunately. And now we know there can be war. After the war, there's a consequence that we got to pass through. Those people that in our country that was part of the war, they say that. They say people so making things to be like difficult, so having people around there, so that I see blood running in the street. If you see coming on air and saying some stuff,
Those same children that are meant to be in our society, they still see themselves to be like good citizens and still be like doing the same stuff. We have to fight it. And now only one person for this thing. No matter, look, government not looking at the way you say in your house and tell your child to do this, do that, do that. If you don't do that, you don't eat, or I'll take your food for you, or I'll do this one. Government not looking at that. Government is something that now only one person is people tell a human being, whether they call you, they let you, they don't let you, all of them working in government. Someone think they're getting happy. All as a matter. We have to be so sincere to the saying that we will follow it in a way that stay for it there aside. And let's talk it real. Look, in America here, I live DC, all the DMV area, with all the area with all the facilities to have, we still experiencing a lot of stuff. You see people sending off like they want for that. Go DC, go southeast DC, and see Mobi. Those are things that even to the Western country, it's not happening. They want more of a country like he working right there, doing anything much here.
But man, unbreakable. Let me ask you one question. Prosper Terry say that you will soon go free a chapel to move to Liberia. What do you feel about that?
What is that?
Prosper say you will soon go free a chapel to go to Liberia because they made a drug law.
Look, listen, the way you understand, they don't make anything for it. They don't matter people. Look, you guys somebody that's sleeping whole day in the chair. You probably made the job in of yourself west.
I know you're going to be a flower. But Prosper,
so who is sleeping in chair now? Who's sleeping in chair now?
If I was your way, if you put anybody in a power, that is a baga. Look, you said baga now has no solution for it. No decision have you ever made, or no, at least to take a decision, to take a strong decision for yourself. You are now do.
Unbreakable.
So if it's yeah.
Unbreakable. I just trying to make you make flower. Okay, you let flower, and you're trying to be nice tonight. I want to brought out but on a serious note, before you leave, one last word before you leave. The issue of drugs, Mr. So was trying to say it could be played to the advantage of the CDC with this, drugs that got found. Do you see any way that the CDC can play this?
I listen to it. No, let me be fair. I've gone CDC. I can say we are sharing as CDC from 2004 on to now. But let me just say, they didn't have it now. It play in us a little bit because it brings the separate in our campaign. I can tell you that we are on a defensive now. Okay. We are on a defensive. We don't want them to be in defensive. We will always move out. So what we need to do is now to see how to bring it down. But what I'm saying, get the opposition. All that thing I want you to prosecute. If the government get out and say, I want an opposition man bring in the country, can you accept it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah, I think Mr. So, you got a question for Unbreakable because I got Aaron Poblet on. I want to let him go to break.
No, Aaron, let Aaron go ahead with a question.
I appreciate it, Unbreakable. We appreciate you. You're one of our best followers. I just like giving you a hard time. You know that. Have a good day.
So what is he breaking?
Aaron Poblet hungry. Let me call Aaron Poblet back. He come in and play with me. And then we'll come back to you, Mark.
Hello?
B player.
Yes.
My man, no too much about here to know.
Yes, how you doing, man?
I'm all right, my man. How you doing, still player? How everything with you and the family?
Everybody's doing great.
What's your take? Welcome
back, Mr. Soul. Welcome back, Mr. Soul.
Okay, you're looking for friendship now. What's your take tonight, my man? What's your take?
So let's be frank with this whole situation in Liberia, okay? We in the United States, we live in a developed world, okay? Look, drugs. You know how much money people make from drugs in an hour in this great country that we're in? Just 1 hour. To sit on the platform and other people try to say because the president or the we are government is not doing that much for drugs, that's the reason why the drugs proliferation is too high in Liberia. The terrorist man who even made that comment, he said it himself. He said it himself. The more the demand becomes, the more they will try to reinvent new drugs to put out there to sell. This is the only precedent that makes drugs offensive that available in Liberia. Okay?
Okay, wait. Problem. Be player.
What you say? Stop at that.
Be player. Hold on.
We need to come together.
Be player. Let me ask you a question, please. Let me ask you.
Yeah.
So, because I always hear that, people will say George Weah is the most tolerant president, and his son, the Abdullah, whatever Abdullah stuff, decriminalizing speech, but yet you would say anybody calls him when I walk the street of Monrovia. So the president has said, has passed, according to you, he made the drug law unbillable. Just making a law unbillable in itself does not do anything. Are there people being persecuted and being held accountable and sent to jail under this new law that makes drug conviction unbillable?
Hello?
Yeah. I was cutting off, man.
Yeah.
Go
ahead. Yeah.
No,
I didn't hear the last
I was asking you if there is an enforcement, if there has been an enforcement of the new drug law that was passed under George Weah, according to you, that's made drug offense unbillable. Have there been people held to account? Have there been people put in jail without bail since the passage of that law that you know of?
Well, I'm not in Liberia, or I never heard nothing like that. But this is what I would say. This is what I would say to your question. Okay, look, we got to make the system to work. That's what we need to do. The broken system we have in Liberia never started from CDC government. It started from the time we grew up from Liberia. Okay, I've been soccer all my life in Liberia. I saw a lot of things happening in Liberia. Not because I made it out there today.
Plenty of money for you to just go in Liberia.
So when we sit today and try to just pin this whole situation on one person, it's bad. I even heard on Spoon Network that Stanton Waterspoon was saying the president's son was the one who bringing the drugs in the country. I mean, how can you be so naive to say no kind of thing?
Same player. The last time you came here with Mayflower, you're bringing Spoon in here. They show here. We don't get Spoon here. We get pieces here.
I understand what you're saying. I just want to agree with Mr. So. Mr. So is very objective. Every time you come on the show, okay? I want to agree with Mr. So.
What he said about everything.
Huh?
Simply, I'm not objective. Oh.
No, you. When Mr. Toko bring a cow to you, get scared. But let me say, this is a serious issue. This stuff is a global pandemic. Okay, drugs proliferation is happening all over the world, in our neighboring country.
So let me ask you one last question, and because I got to bring Mark on.
You know how bad this stuff is tearing up Nigeria? The same way they culture this stuff. Yeah.
Let me ask you one last question. Answer real quick so I can get Mike to speak because he's in Liberia. He has to go to sleep. Let me ask you one question. Okay. I understand that, and that's the point I was trying to raise, that this issue of drugs started a long time ago. Maybe it's gotten worse, and there are reasons we all maybe can look at and point to. But being objective as a Liberian, I know you are. You're a patriotic guy. You play for the nation. I pay money to see you play, so I know you're a guy who thinks for the nation. Now, having said that, do you think there is any responsibility whatsoever that can be placed at the feet of the government, or even the guy who was in charge of security as failing the president? The trust reposed in him by the president as failing that trust that was reposed in him by the president.
Most definitely. So let me tell you about Sam Livingstone. I know Sam Livingstone very well. I can even text you a picture or he and myself doing the CDC convention. We all went to Western together. I know him very well. So he's not a stranger to me. Okay, I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm not saying he knew what was happening and stuff like that. But my thing to it here is, there's a high degree of negligence with the government. We need to put people into places who will investigate this kind of thing and do it real fast. Do the job that you were placed to perform. The government needs to do that. I'm not going to hide it. I don't have my tongue.
They need to do that. They're in power now. They need to take charge of these things. They need to take charge of it and try to do something to step on this stuff. Okay? You can never know the root of any problem. You can never know the cause of any problem except you go to the root. They need to start going places and start breaking these ghettos down. They were doing it. Why they stop?
All right.
They were doing it. Why they stop?
Thank you. Thank you.
So these are the things that they need to do. Go into the rural communities and start finding the sources of these things. People sit down and all of these things from Nigeria, all the other places and things like that to come in the country. So once we start getting the root of these things, then we'll start putting the drug problem in Liberia. And like the previous caller said just before I end, Joseph Boakai will fight drug. Joseph Boakai can't even control himself.
Yeah, man, you can't finish one thing with all throwing power.
All right, I see you.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So callers, I will take another call, but let's go to Mark because Mark has to go. He's in Liberia. Mark, any parting comments for us? You've listened to some of the callers. Perhaps you want to wrap that into your parting comments, and then we take more calls, and we'll go to Mr. So and my brother, Mr. Collins.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Goa, for the beautiful comments and beautiful questions that have been coming. And I just want to make a little clarity before I go. And the drug law that was passed earlier this year in July it specifies categories. So it's not just all or not non-bailable. There are categories of the law. First degree felony, we talk about the importation category, they place it in first degree felony, which talk about 10 to 20 years imprisonment is one of the hardship part of it. And also another category, and a category where one should be found guilty and be non-bailable. It's not just all that is non-bailable. Secondly, there have been some ways, but the DA, the LDA have been raiding some ghettos. The other day, just on 12 street, I tried interviewing some of them, but they said they don't want to speak on camera. And but when you talk to some bystander, they will tell you that those people that they are raiding, they are not the people who bring in no drug, ghettos. But people that you see them, some of them are very look in a white collar way. They are the ones that are bringing the drug in the country. They are the ones that are supplying no ghettos. But those little zocos, the little girls and boys, ghettos, they are not the ones bringing the drugs. So rehabilitation too have been one of the key issues that people have been talking about, because the law is not talk about punishment. Rehabilitation is not clearly spoken about. So this is another aspect of it people have been criticizing. But I think the law is the beginning, and then the rehabilitation probably could come, and that would be good. It could curtail the supply, the chain, like the caller was saying, the supply chain. When the supply chain is cut off, I think it's going to be curtailed. But it's actually going to on the or this is not going to be a good sign for the ruling establishment, because mind you have the opposition now that's
I
taking
think
this thing
Jero is backstage.
seriously as their campaign too. Already Liberia is crumbling with its economy, with our economy, and then the issue of drug too is in. So I think the government of Liberia really need to put its feet on the ground to ensure that drug is curtailed, if not eradicated totally in a society, so as to have a very much a good society, that one may walk in the night with their phone and it won't be snatched from them.
You want to your phone? Who are you?
Yes. Yes. Well,
okay, my brother.
Thank you. It's been a good. Tomorrow, before I go tomorrow, at it will be a bit earlier at let's say by 10 a.m. Liberian time, or 11 a.m. Liberian time, which will be 7 a.m. In the US. There will be a presidential debate held. There will be a presidential debate. LPR will also broadcast this debate live from the Cinco Palace Hotel. Our technical team has already welcomed Letitio. So we're going to be broadcasting this from the Cinco Palace Hotel. There are few candidates that are consented. This has been courtesy of the RCR in collaboration with LPR.
That's good.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Thank
that,
you,
Mark.
guys. Have an
thank you so much.
have a pleasant morning.
My brother, Mr. Cummings, thanks for coming through. We will get to you soon. I have a caller on the line from Liberia. Let me just take his input, and then we will pivot to Mr. So, and then to you, Mr. Cummings. Go ahead, my brother. Welcome to LPR Radio. What's your name?
Thank you. My name is Tommy So.
Hi, Tommy. How are you doing, my man? How Liberia today?
We are fun. We're in here. We're in Miami. We're here. All is well.
I love my Liberian people, man. We always try to reason to laugh at things, and we don't take it too seriously. Yeah, but what's your input, my brother?
No, on a serious note, Sissy, look, this country is going down the drain with the drugs. And I listened to one of the quarter journal, Aaron, this thing we're talking about is for our country, not for what our president we are or Ambassador Boakai and all of that. The job of a president, you don't have to drive a Chinese truck, same truck. You don't have to do track. All you need is to sit down and give order. You need to sit down and just give order, that's all. So whether he old or he young, when you have a proper people to hunt these people, the drug business have been going on for a very long time. Even our days, when I was much smaller, living on Central Street, somewhere they call Black, but that was a ghetto. But they are time the police director or the head of the CID will post stop to it. What we wanted this man to do, the president to do, come on the air and say, look, Inspector General of Police, to Justice Minister, the drug business is getting to our country. I want it stop, and you see things will stop. I have some friends who work with the DEA. Some of them have to quit because every time they arrest these drugs people, then you see some big hand will go, you know what, my interest is there. So they say they can't get to it because you cannot be fighting drugs and people. You have senator, you have minister, you have everybody car in with them. It becomes a serious problem. At the end of the day, right now, even by 8 o'clock, you can't even go on Broad Street. When these children take the drugs, it becomes a really, really volatile area. How do we have a society? How do we have a society? And after all, the older one will go, the younger one. What we're going to have tomorrow as a society, and if they didn't continue to tell you in the next 2 years, not even 2 years, you're not even walk in the street of Monrovia. You will not walk in the street of Monrovia. We need to come together. This is not politics. We need to come together. The drug business should be stopped. And the government of the day has not really come down hard with the drug business. Why see things are going like this? We have to stay from because this is the only country we got to stay, and nobody going to leave from here. We ran for here during the war, and we came back, and we got to be here. And nobody going to pull that bro into the kind of situation that we'll be forced to go here. We will not accept that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, my brother.
Come on the 17th, come Sunday, Maria going to go all green. That's a very revolution.
And I may get free advertisement. We appreciate you, my brother. Stay safe, and I hope you guys. I just give you a hard time, but thank you. We appreciate the call, and you'll be safe. Bloku were here. Bloku just left to go do something. Bloku with your own earlier. But you have a good night. Okay, my brother, Mr. Cummings, thanks for coming through. What say you? What's your beef tonight, or what's keeping you up late tonight on LPR? You are muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay. I want to say good evening to you and welcome back, Mr. So. Were you at that GB place?
Unfortunately, I didn't go there. I went to different GB spot. Not that particular spot.
Let me use this to say good evening to our brother and the.
Your mic is going in and out, Mr. Cummings.
In and out?
Yeah.
Yes, it's much better.
No sound.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, now we can hear you.
All right.
Yeah.
The reason why I call
the mic breaking. Yeah, it's okay now.
Yeah, it's okay now. We can hear you now.
Okay. The reason why I called tonight is because of this issue of the proliferation of drugs in Liberia. I recall some years back, there was a group calling themselves the Isakaba Boys.
Right.
And that was right after a few months, or let's say almost the middle part of 2006, when the Isakaba Boys show up and they were terrorizing people from the Benson Street to the Clay Street end. And I recall that the government at the time, President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, decided to ask the joint security to take control of the issue. And with a vigorous force, the joint security was able to curtail the situation of the Sakaba Boys. Then there was another incident with ghettos, the proliferation of ghettos around the Somalia Drive. There was a ghetto right behind the police station around the supermarket area. Then those days, the shoes factory community had one of the leading ghettos in that community. And I was one night coming from work, the guys decided to, take everything from me. They took everything, cell phones, anything you can think about. And I told a group of young men in the community, we got to go to the police station. There was one commander, Tito. And that night we went to the police and we told them, look, if you don't close the ghettos tonight, we'll burn all the ghettos from Shoes Factory to Gardner's the supermarket. We'll make sure we burn all the ghettos, because what was unfolding was the citizens were not in peace. These guys were terrorizing our community every day, every night. And I recall, Mr. Goya, about 3 a.m. in the morning, because every day I was on the radio talking about it, the police commander brought SOD-4 and I think another vehicle, and all the police officers were armed to the teeth. And he called me and he said, Mr. Cummings, where are you? I said, I'm home. He said, well, we're here to pick you up. We're ready to get to him. Now, knowing the story of Mana Zeke and that of Francois Massacroix, I told him, I said, look, let me say, girl, because 3 a.m. in the morning. But what you do is this, read.
Your audio is off, Mr. Cummings.
The audio is off, yeah.
I think that person that called you set off your audio. Mr. So, I have unexpected family guests. Can you take over the show?
So what are your
the man back said?
Oh, no.
The man back.
No. You asked me to take charge. I'm already in charge.
Real quick to the audience. We're celebrating my birthday on Saturday. I'm going to be raising money for 2 charitable organizations in Liberia. For Reach, they help with people. I've been helping with them for the last 6 years. We paid students tuition. We help with medical bills. We've been putting old ladies, taking them from the floor, putting them on mattresses, and taking them from outside and putting them inside and sending children to school. And then the next group is JoJo. There's a lady who does a wonderful job going to these drug places, and she's been rehabilitating these people. She built her own rehabilitation.
The other day. Yeah.
It's called Drugs Coffee with JoJo. I will be raising money, and I'm hoping I will use LPR, and I'll bring those 2 people on that day. All of the money will go directly to them in Liberia. I'm going to raise money on my birthday to support drug rehabilitation with JoJo, and then paying some tuition for some unfortunate and less fortunate students in Liberia. I can't leave education. That's my passion. So I got to get some money that side. So y'all please come on Saturday. Y'all help us. Let's raise some money. Let's help some of our brothers and sisters who we keep calling Zogos. But I got
what time? What time on Saturday? What time on Saturday?
24 hours, my man. All day. Like my birthday thing, we'll give you anything. The whole day thing. No, I will let you know. I will give you the exact time.
Okay. Yeah, Jojo, I reached out to her too, but we didn't really. We just sort of chatted. I think she's doing an extraordinary job. Okay.
All right. Okay. Good night.
All right.
Thank you, sister. Thank you very much. Okay, folks. Samson told Labrador Public Radio. I want to thank, but I think this is one of those nights that I having Mr. Cummings on here. I think it was a lots of interesting conversation that I think I missed. Mr. So, are you coming on tomorrow?
Tomorrow is Wednesday. I will be on. What's your fear? I'm coming on.
I will be there. I will be there. Then so is Terry. Terry, thank you very much. You've been a wonderful contributor here.
Yeah, Terry is amazing guy.
You've been a wonderful contributor here.
Yeah, I know the time is already running out here, but the Liberal, good to have you back here. You know, this whole thing here, this is a national conversation, but it's unfortunate people to try to incite their own feelings into it's not about you, it's not about me. It's a national conversation, and you have to listen to both sides. You have to be tolerant to have this sort of conversation. It's not just something kicking your head. This must happen. Notwithstanding going to Rawasfi area there, they play the course Zimbabwe. I went there. If you go there, Samson, the children that are there, teenagers, some of them below 14, 15. Our society is in a mess. So it's not something that when we're talking these things, people, oh, let's do this. Oh, let the government do this. Oh, let's do this. This requires a national conversation. People with patriotic mind, both the government, the opposition, ordinary Liberians, even the Liberian, we ourselves at angles and facilitators of this program, we need to find a way, we need to have a national conversation as to how those things can be addressed. And what I was saying, and other people might kind of give a misinterpretation, you got to be very careful how you address this thing. The very Unity Party, they are also part and parcel of this thing here. Hundreds of dollars, millions of dollars was invested by the international community. People who might kind of like, we want to speak about it broadly, like the Tiawan Gonglo and what his name, the Alice Cummings and all of those people. Because if the outgoing government have told us how far they stopped with the rehabilitation process. You remember those days nationally, and this is why sometimes when we're talking, people don't see it the way they don't take the holistic approach to this thing. The National Rehabilitation Commission, rehabilitating the people, not just only taking somebody from industry and go put mattress down for them to sleep and lay down. No, we work in this field too. It requires counseling, psychiatrists, clinicians. There must be a treatment plan. Do we have the capacity to do that? Can government alone do that? It requires international consolidation support to get this thing done. Even if people give me the statistic and I say 45,000 or 100,000, I doubt that, because if you even go Morovia, certain quarter alone, if you see those people, then just think about the rest of the 15 or 14 political subdivision. So this is a really serious national problem. There must be, I think, I want to hold the lawmakers responsible, the legislature as well. They need to come together regardless of their political affiliation to launch this national rehabilitation process where the international community will come in to really assist. It's not just take somebody, put them in the place there, they finish eating, the next day they go there to do the same thing. You're not doing anything. You've got to have all of these groups of people there in order for these people body to be detoxized and be able to be integrated, and not just only integrated, find something for them, let them be able to keep themselves occupied, because you just take them, you made them eat and sleep, they think they okay, oh, I'm all right. The next day, if they can't sustain themselves, guess what? They go back to the same old place. If you go to Zimbabwe, Samson told, if you go to Zimbabwe, if you have a chance to go to Zimbabwe, Terry, if you see the young people that are there, girls, boys, men, where those people, where can we accommodate them? Where can they go?
So one of the things that I suspect, Mr. So, and I was listening to you guys, and it's like I said, I missed a lot, but thank God you guys were able to actually go into some issues that was affecting people. But one of the things that I've always stated and I will continue to say is that God lives in Liberia, to be honest with you. And as God could have it, most of these people that are being appointed in the superintendent position in these counties and stuff, many of them are fighters, and they have their folks who fought with them, and they are bringing them on board. And I think that type of issue, the mindset of many of our brothers and sisters has not gotten out of the war. Even though there's no fighting, nobody's dying now, but their mindset, their mentality is still down there. They don't see themselves to say, I believe, they don't see themselves to say, well, perhaps we need people to look at us, examine us, and see if we need to recover mentally. They don't. If you ask any of these people right now, the only those that are in the street that are on drugs, that you will say, yeah, that person have mental issue. But many of the people that are now on drugs, that are fighters, the young people who fought the war, they're still traumatized. That has not changed. And so, like I said, God lives in Liberia. As a result of that, you have people, things are not going sideways on us. And that's good. Now, the issue here, and I know Terry most likely not going to like this. If you bring in, and I hope Ambassador Baka will win the election, but it's not going to change because Ambassador Baka and even people around him, they are not thinking the way you're thinking, Mr. Soul. Many of them are thinking just there to get rich. That's simple as that. You take George Weah out, you bring Ambassador Baka. As long Ambassador Baka himself wants to make sure these things are addressed, but he cannot do it by himself. He must have partners, Liberians, who are willing and ready. Now, you keep asking the international community to help you. They give you money. They're not going to give you their high-earned taxpayer money to solve all of your problems. They will only give you something to pacify you. Simple. That's it. Now, until we ourselves, Liberians, start investing in these people, start investing our money to kill whatever it is that we think is happening in the society, then it will do good. And this is where the failure of past government, this government, and even President Baka will also fail in that. And that is to recognize the Liberian diaspora. Those who have, many of them were suffered through the war. Some of them perhaps might have taken part in the war, but they're out here in the United States, in Europe, and have the opportunity to go and be de-traumatized. Now, these same people, the government must recognize and they must contact them and make them part of the solution. Bring them on board to say, here we are, come out. This is the problem we have. How can you help us? Honest conversation. Not coming here when you have a political party, when you have a political season, then you come here to raise money. That's not going to cut it. And then after that, then you shut us off. And then whenever something happens, we send money to our relatives and stuff. It's not helping. It's not helping. So, Mr. So, I think I don't know what's going to happen to the next generation, but that country is in serious trouble. Because we all refuse to recognize that.
You don't know. Maybe Tara knows something. If Tara want to tell us.
Well, yeah, obviously, Bloku can pay for some time. But to be honest with you,
that what makes him Bloku. He say he's unstable. He unbalanced.
Yeah,
you will learn the hard way.
You have to believe in the leader that you are trying to elect. You got to believe in their goals, you got to believe in the policy, you got to believe in the principle. You can't say, oh, I doubt that this person will do it and all that. Now, we have seen President Weah leadership. We know one of the problem President Weah has is the inability to take leadership actions on those that he employed in his government. He don't have the willpower to take drastic action on those that he employed. Like the scenario with this guy we're talking about, this once the information came up, the man's supposed to be fired. He's not even supposed to be suspended. He's supposed to be fired. The man at the NTA, he's supposed to be fired. These are things that leaders do. There are also some people in your government that you don't even have to fire them. Just change their position. That's what Ellen used to do. Change their position and put them in a different place. But President Weah is unable to do all of the above. But I think this is the reason why tonight I don't want to be political, because that's what Mr. So said. This is not a political issue. I feel very bad that even the Unity Party people, and where English I support, run with it as a political propaganda to remove Jowiah. I don't think I do support that. If you on all other platforms, because for me, I have faced drug addicts. I have faced it. I know what the people smoke. I know what happens to them when they smoke. The thing you're talking about, rehabilitation center, those things cannot eliminate a drug addicted person, because there are stages. It is the same with drunkenness. There are levels of drunkenness. There is a degree. There is a third degree, wherein when a drug addicted person reach, there is no way they're coming out. There is no rehabilitation. But one of the ways in which you can tackle this particular thing is to what? To cut off the supply. Once the man cannot see the drug, he will begin to heal. Because once that man take that drug and he goes to bed and wake up and the drug is not there, he start itching for the drug. He start itching his skin, especially certain kind of drugs. They start itching. They got something they call the juice. Anybody who take drugs, when you tell them about the juice, they know what it means. That means when you smoke and the smoke leave your system, the next day you have to smoke. Or else you will be just like somebody itching. You will be itching all your skin. You got to steal. You got to create other things. So one of the strategies in dealing with this is to firstly get rid of the supplier and then bust up all those big ghettos that are responsible to supply the community. Once you start raiding those huge ghettos, you minimize it. Then you also need to arrest criminals, major criminals that you know. The police know all these people. The security apparatus, they know all these people. They
police themselves are facilitators of these crimes. Some, not all. So it's a volatile issue. Remember, this thing here is all about money, and this is why the entire war, when it comes to the drug thing, it's a costly fight. It's a very, very, very costly fight. Look, even the police we are talking about, tell me. And this is no excuse for them. For every time drive went to town, you have to spend not less than $10 or $15. Police who's supposed to apprehend, arrest people, they're not getting paid, they're not getting what they're supposed to get, they're begging, asking because they want to survive. I gave 2 officers, not just recent police officer, 2 officers, I gave them the ride from, how do you call it, Boulevard Junction to town. It was raining. Other folks that have been in the police for quite a while, from the conversation, what I got, and the staff, I just said, "Oh, thank you for your service for the country." He was shocked when I said that. Right away, he made a guess. Are you here? I said, "Do you live here?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "No, I don't think so. I'm an old officer." And then from down to down, the old man, he began to say something, coming to the harmonization. How hell in town they used to get like $150. They harmonized it, instead of the rear hammer came down to their head, and it's like $100. And he was going as far as in town to get that $100. Think about it. Somebody needs to pay his children's school fee within that $100. They got to eat, they got to go to work. Now tell me, how can that man fight crime? How can that man arrest somebody that is carrying narcotics that is of thousands of dollars? I mean, let's be real. So there are things that needs to be addressed by national government, we as a citizen, the country, its people, in order to put stop to it. Other than that, or just what we're saying. And that's what the liberal, I love the question Madam Yon asked. And when I'm telling you about this liberal here, you don't listen. You know, his own support system, I just don't get it. He supports somebody, but then there's an apprehension that this person can't do it. But then he comes back here, he get a ghost to come and sit on this platform, on this network, and tell people, say, you're do this, man. Even though he have doubts about that person. That's been very disingenuous. You're not being honest, Mr. Toll.
Mr. So,
and you need to stop that.
Mr. So, this is my platform. I'm running a show, and
No, this is not a platform. It is people.
I'm running a show tonight. I'm running a show. So, despite all of your misgiving about me, it doesn't change anything. I will be truthful. And I mean, thank you very much for being on tonight. We appreciate it. And then goodbye to you, Terry. Let's wrap it.
So
up.
you kicking me out?
Yeah, exactly. Terry, let's wrap it up. God, you're supposed to be praising me. Then you are telling the people.
That
nephew, yeah, I'm supposed to be praising him.
You are welcome back. Welcome back. We appreciate it. We'd love to have you on.
Again. We'll be on tomorrow. We intend to bring our presidential debate with True FM Sister Network. We'll do everything possible. I think 11. I don't know why
they're having a presidential debate.
Presidential debate. Some candidates consented. We'll talk about
it. About President did he say he was going to be there? President, we are going to be part of that.
Why you can't ask for Boyka to be there? You want President?
Boyka will be the hair. He will be at the hair.
He said he's not. I'm disappointed to say because we are not debating. He's not going there. You see those kind of policy. They need to make use.
President Boyka said he's not going to be there.
Ambassador Boyka said when the president is not attending a debate, he's not on a debate, he won't go there. That's a one strategy.
But Mr. So, did they invite him? Because the news I heard from I saw a statement.
I met Chris with the group when I was there. He extended invitation to all of those people, and just what I said, that was the same thing. He said, "Is the president coming?" He said, "Well, we extended an invitation." Obviously, he's not going to go. The president is not going to go there, and that's it. That's the frustrating thing part of it, Terry, because people, when you talk to people, ordinary people, it's unbelievable. Young people, young generation. This has nothing to do with education. This way, when you talk about debate, who get time for that kind of thing there? I don't care what you do. This is the person you have. When you have that kind of society of that, for people who are supposed to inform, educate, this is where we're supposed to hold these people accountable,
right,
and be able to even ask them this question, like this sort of thing that came to town here. You say you want to be president. How do you intend to fight drugs? What method? How are you going to gather resources? What are you going to do? Now, if the president says he's not going there, he's like, keeping. You want this joy here. You should do everything possible to persuade voters what makes you more qualified. And I didn't say I got a flyer. Yeah, he said he's not going to go there. So it's like
I think he's traveling. He's going to Nigeria. He's going to Nigeria. I think he already left, or he's supposed to be leaving tomorrow. Because there was a statement. There was a statement I saw that he said he cut off the campaign, suspended the campaign, and going to return on the 15th. That what I saw, a statement was put up, a press release.
I think CDC running away. They said a man going to the hospital again.
But the men were on a campaign trail.
All the political parties,
so they want to, but
lack of strategy is sad. They got to be careful, and that's why people don't like, because if they are not careful and they just think, oh, people suffering, if they think that is just all enough, trust me, CDC going to win it. These people, they are like a court. There is something about it. It reminds me of the days of the NPFL. I don't care what you tell them about Charles Taylor. Forget it. They don't. They will not listen. They those people. What kind of strength? What kind of energy that they can dance from 7 days in the week and say they're going to do it? And they said, now you say, go in Nigeria, you go and do this when you're supposed to be at the doors of the voters to do your last minute push. That Nigerian people can't vote? You're good now.
Okay, Terry, thank you. Mr. So, thank you guys very much. We appreciate it. And we'll be on here again tomorrow with your show, Mr. So. Some people.
Terry is invited. You are not invited.
Mr. So, I'm the board chair. I'm the board chair.
You not come out with board chair again?
No, forget it. Good night.
The liberal.
This guy,
Thank you guys. Thank you guys very much.
So
Thank
bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Terry. Bye.
Again, folks, Samson told Labrador Public Radio. I want to thank all of you again this evening. It's been a wonderful show. Sorry, I had to take leave here and thank the Sisse who were able to put a lot of stuff together. We appreciate it. Mr. So will be back here tomorrow. I'll find out how they got Mr. Cummings on here tonight because a lot of people have been calling me saying, to find way. It's not just one person. One of the important person in our own community also contacted me. But I will do what I can to find out how he got on, and hopefully we'll bring him back on here again Thursday. Other than that, folks, I will say thank you very much. As Samson told Labrador Public Radio, we'll say good night to you. It's been a wonderful evening. Please stay safe. Let's continue to pray for one another. And most importantly, let's continue to pray for the Republic of Liberia. That's all we have. Good night, folks.
Ateito, na lukio na katia.